Hey everybody! So before we begin, just want to do a little disclaimer. I'm not a makeup artist by any means. I have very little experience on working on other people. It's a work in progress. I'm learning, I'm growing, just like everybody else. However, through trial and error, I know it works for me. Now, that being said, um, I am going to show you products today that work best, in my opinion, for combination skin. Everything I show you today is available at Ulta. I'm sure you can find it elsewhere too. Just look around for it. But I have combination skin. There are three main skin types in the industry. Usually, if you're looking for a primer or foundation at a store and you ask an associate for help, they're going to ask you, what type of skin do you have? There's dry, oily, and combination. Combination is the most difficult, but the most common. The second most common, well, I guess it could be either or. But combination skin is where you have patches of dry skin and patches of oily skin, kind of a mix and match. There are people who have primarily oil to combination, and there are people who have primarily dry to combination. I just happen to fall in the middle where I have both. Definitely combination, definitely depends on the weather, the season, the skincare. There's a ton of factors. But today I want to show you products that work best for me, and hopefully also for others who have combination skin. But the way I'm going to talk about each product, you can kind of pick and choose for yourself what you think would work best for you depending on your skin type. All right, so first we're going to talk about primers. Now, I have a primer that's best for oily skin. I have a primer that's what I think best for dry skin, and then I have a primer that should work best for both. First, let's start with what I think works best for when your skin is acting especially dry. So dry to combination, and that would be the Essence Hello Good Stuff Glow Serum Primer. It's a newer primer by Essence. It's pink. It smells like watermelon. Just so good to your skin. I won't lie. It's hydrating. It's long lasting. If your combination, this is great for daily use. However, like I said, this is best for if your skin is combo but leaning dry. I find that it just makes makeup apply really, really beautifully on top of it. I find that you don't get super oily throughout the day. It's just a nice, natural looking primer. It does say glow serum in the product description, but it just gives a really hydrating, smooth base. That being said, if you have dry patches, whatever, I do find that this takes care of my dry patches. Like I said, just hydrating and smooth. It's made with watermelon water and niacinamide, which niacinamide is very popular right now for dry skin, whether it be, you know, niacinamide. I always throw an extra N in there, I'm sorry. Niacinamide or hyaluronic acid, those two usually are primary hydrating ingredients in a lot of products. But yeah, so first primer would be the Essence Hello Good Stuff Glow Serum Primer. And again, this is best for combo leaning dry. For combination leaning oily, I have the NYX Shine Killer Primer. This stuff is no joke. Like if you are oily, greasy, sweaty, this does really, really well to fight it. I absolutely love this primer for oily skin. I think it does a lot of work. Um, it is a black primer. It's infused with charcoal, so um, it is a black primer, but it goes on clear after you like work it in. Just don't use too much. But it says it can be used alone or used alone or with foundation. I don't know why you would use this alone, but you absolutely could, especially if you are oily, towards the beginning of the day before you do your makeup, whatever. This stuff eats it. It just completely, like, this is fantastic for a good matte foundation. It just locks it in. It just, it's great. It really, really is. Again, this is for combo leaning oily. I absolutely find that this stuff really helps with longevity. It really helps fight the oil. You have to have your makeup on for quite the extended period of time for this to start to fail, I guess. Now, for just purely combination, whether you're oily, dry, whatever, a good middle of the road would be the Milani No Pore Zone Mattifying Primer. This is a silicone primer, so this works well with, combination leaning either way, because it creates that like smooth base no matter what. Says it has lily and bamboo extracts. It is a mattifying primer. Lightweight, silky texture, matte finish. That's all true. Very silky, very smooth. I like this more than the Benefit Professional. I've mentioned it before. I fucking hate Benefit Professional. I think it's awful. I understand that it works for a lot of people, but I do find that this is a superior product for a significantly cheaper price. But yeah, this is great for longevity. The only thing this doesn't fight is sweat, unfortunately. But again, it is a silicone primer, so there is going to be slipperiness. But definitely does what it says it does. So just to run through real quick, the Glow Serum Primer is best for combination leaning dry. Great for everyday use, great for a natural finish. And then these two are best for combination leaning oily, but looking for a mattifying finish. I think that this is stronger, but the bottle is not worth the price. The product is worth the price, but it's just the size of the bottle is unfortunate. And then this is a good middle of the road. If you're really trying to like mattify yourself, I find that this is the longest lasting. This works the hardest. But not everyone's looking to be super matte. So that's where this one comes in. That's why I say middle of the road, because you're not going to be super mattified to the point of like cakiness or, it's mattifying, but it still looks somewhat natural. Whereas this is mattifying. So just keep that in mind. Like I said, I mentioned all three because everyone's skin is different and everyone looks for a different finish at the end of the day. But those are my top three primers. Moving on to concealer, I have two. First is the more natural finish, natural leaning mattified, but not mattifying, very much natural finish, very much, you know, just works great with every skin type really, and that's the Tarte Shape Tape, the original formula. I know they have more than one formula now, but I'm talking about the original one. This is the original Shape Tape. Shape Tape is fantastic. Nothing beats it that I found. Works great with every primer, works great with every finish, long lasting, blends beautifully, just fantastic, fantastic concealer. On the mattifying side of things, though, if you are looking for a matte finish, the e.l.f. Camo Concealer, the 16-hour Camo Concealer, the matte finish, which is the black cap. The satin finish is the white cap, but I find that the satin finish, if you have combination to oily skin, the satin finish tends to move a little bit, settle in fine lines, just doesn't... This is a natural finish, but it really holds on, and it doesn't move throughout the day. It doesn't, it has a good finish. When comparing the matte Camo Concealer to the satin finish Camo Concealer, I find that the matte performs much better. Even if you're, not necessarily going for like that fully matte look, having a matte concealer is still very nice to have. So I do recommend having both in your arsenal if you can. But again, this is a natural finish, and this is a matte finish, totally mattified, totally not going anywhere. Blends really, really nicely, but it does dry quickly, so keep that in mind. But yeah, as far as concealers go, these two are just top tier, nothing beats them. So yeah, Shape Tape and e.l.f. 16-hour Camo Concealer Matte Finish. These are total all-stars. I recommend these to every customer. There really isn't a concealer better than these two, and these two, depending on the finish you're going for, they're just both worth having, absolutely. So for foundations, I'm going to go natural, or I guess radiant natural mattifying. So if I say radiant, radiant glow finish would be the Juvia's Place I Am Magic Natural Radiance Foundation. I've used this for the least amount of time, but I am extremely impressed with this formula. I find that this is best for combination leaning dry, just because it is a natural finish formula, so it's not going to dry you out or emphasize dry patches. It really works out. It's a great summer foundation. It's a great, your skin is dry and you need to look alive. I do find that this works best for that. So this is the best as far as a glowy finish. If you're not into the glowy finish, I still recommend it because it's a good, it does have a natural finish when it's combined with a powder. So even if you don't like the glowiness of it, it's very well performing. It's got good longevity. It's got beautiful formula. It's a good foundation for combination leaning dry. On the same thought process, as far as combination leaning dry, the ColourPop Pretty Fresh Hyaluronic Hydrating Foundation. This I've used for a very long time. So when I tell you this is one of the best performing foundations out there for combination to dry, I mean it. I've been using it forever. Um, ColourPop is a very hit or miss brand, especially as time has gone on. I have become less and less impressed with the brand. Um, but this foundation holds up. Um, I can't say enough good things about it. Just as a person with combination skin, foundations can be very iffy. But again, it depends on the finish that you're going for. Do you want glowy? It's good by itself. This is more of a natural finish. I don't find that there's a glow to it, despite it being a hyaluronic hydrating foundation. Um, but great longevity, beautiful finish, mattifies with a powder. Um, just can't recommend it enough. However, if you are super, super oily, I don't know if this is going to work for you. Um, it doesn't. I'm trying to think of the last time this, like, kind of, like, got. Like, when your skin gets oily and your makeup starts to break up a little bit? Um, this can do that, but I've never experienced it. I know for a fact that if I've worn this for, I want to say maybe 12 hours at most, and around hour 11, it started to get a little weird on me. But that's up to 11 hours of wear. That's still pretty fucking good. So again, it depends on the finish you're going for, but I recommend this as a natural finish. Um, Definitely worth it for oily leaning, or oily, oh my god, combination leaning dry. This is great. So this is getting more into the heavier coverage, more still a natural finish. However, this is meant for specifically for longevity. This is the Maybelline Superstay Activewear 30-hour foundation. I've never had to wear makeup for 30 hours, but the last time I wore this foundation, it lasted 13 hours. I was in makeup for 13 hours and I used this. This stuff is no joke. It lasts. It lasts. It's beautiful. It is a natural finish, mattifies with a powder. This stuff just, I don't even know. Like, I've tested it, I've worn it out in the world for an unnecessary amount of time, and it holds. It holds out. It is strong. It is fantastic, but it's not cakey. That's the crazy thing to me. It's not cakey at all. It does its job with or without a powder. I recommend it with a powder. It doesn't have to be a powder foundation. It can be a translucent powder. Any of these can work with a translucent powder, but especially this one. This does so much of the work. You do not need to set this with a powder foundation. I know in a lot of my videos I use foundation powders as opposed to translucent powders, but for this one in particular, if you can find your color in this, hit it with a translucent powder and just go. Activewear is accurate. 30 hours, I don't know, but I could say 13 hours accurate. This foundation is a fucking all-star. I can't recommend it enough. It's incredible. And finally, for full coverage, combination leaning oily, mattifying finish, the NYX Can't Stop Won't Stop full coverage foundation. This is unreal. I've been using it since December. It's been almost a year and I still love this foundation. If my house was on fire and I had to pick foundations to save, I would choose these two. This is a more natural finish. This is a pure matte finish. This dries matte. It is full coverage. This leans a little bit more to the cakey side, but sometimes you need a full coverage. Sometimes you need that heavy shit to get through the day. And this is another one where I can say up to 12 hours of wear, depending. Maybe you might need to touch up, maybe not. Especially once it's set with a powder, you are good to go. This foundation, like, it's like putting paint on a wall. You gotta blast that shit off. Like, it's on there. It is on there. It is good to go. Especially if you're oily and you need a matte finish that is reasonably priced. I cannot recommend this one enough. I can't recommend these two specifically enough. These are the best foundations drugstore wise. Even the more expensive stuff I've tried, like these two are like, the longevity is incredible. The finishes are great. This is more of a natural. This is extremely matte. So it depends on what you're looking for. But these are the two foundations that I would, like, when I die, make sure that the mortician uses these. You know what I'm saying? Like, these are my favorite. These are both definitely, I'm sure if you are combination leaning dry, you can use this with a good primer. But these are definitely more combination leaning oily. This one's definitely for oily skin. Do not use this if you are super dry. I do not recommend it. It is full coverage and it will absolutely, like, emphasize dry patches, because this is a matte foundation. It is meant to be matte. But they're not kidding. This stuff, I know I said it as a joke, but like, it's like putting paint on a wall. You have to, like, blast that shit off. It is on there. It looks fantastic. Incredible longevity. I bought this for wintertime, and if I have days where I need to be just locked and loaded, I reach for one of these two, without a doubt. For combination leaning dry, these are incredible. Beautiful, beautiful foundations, but definitely for dry skin. And then these two are best for oily. You can get away with this if you're in the middle, for sure, because this is just great for a ton of different skin tones, skin types. This one is just amazing for everyone. But I would say if I had to use these on other people, I would say these are best for combo leaning dry, and these are best for combo leaning oily. So yeah, those are my favorite face products for combination skin. As a person with tricky combination skin, I understand that finding decent products is a fucking nightmare. When your skin can't decide how it wants to be, it can be hard. So, not to be super repetitive, but I am going to run through everything one more time before we end. For primers, the Essence Hello Good Stuff Glow Serum Primer. Best for everyday, best for combination leaning dry. NYX Shine Killer. This is like if you really want your foundation to last for like an extended period of time, whether it be work or performing, I don't know. But definitely NYX Shine Killer for a super matte, locked finish. Best for combination leaning oily. And then this is more middle of the road. This is a dupe for the MAC mattifying primer, but this is the Milani No Pore Zone mattifying primer. It is a silicone primer, so it is mattifying, but it is also very slippery, so it doesn't give you that cakey finish. It is kind of middle of the road, so keep that in mind. For concealers, for natural finish, I have Tarte Shape Tape. And for a completely mattifying finish, I have the e.l.f. 16-Hour Camo Concealer Matte Finish formula specifically. For foundations, I have the Juvia's Place I Am Magic Natural Radiance Foundation, the ColourPop Pretty Fresh Hyaluronic Hydrating Foundation, the Maybelline Superstay Activewear 30-Hour Foundation, and the NYX Can't Stop Won't Stop Full Coverage Foundation. Those are my recommendations. Those are my favorites. I'll recommend them to anybody, to everybody, as long as you are combo or looking for specific finishes for combination skin. These are your all-stars. These are what I recommend. Like I said, all of these are available at Ulta. Certain ones are available at other places like CVS or Walmart. You just gotta look for them. But I wanted to at least tell you about them so that you could look for them. Yeah. So thanks for joining me, and I'll see you guys next time.